Dynamic duo here with Broadway Joel. So, Garcia versus Fortuna. What are your thoughts?
I think Garcia is the younger, faster fighter, and I think speed is what is Garcia's most advantage here. I also do think he has the power advantage, but it's not because Javier Fortuna can't punch. Javier Fortuna can punch, but I just don't think at 135, where maybe if this fight was at 126, his original weight class, maybe that fight, it could have been a little bit more competitive in terms of power. But considering he's the older fighter, I can't see any which way he wins. I mean, let me rephrase that. I can't see him winning, but he is a puncher. He is awkward. He does have a lot of experience, so I don't discount his chances from being a puncher and being a more experienced fighter and being awkward as well. But I think at some point, speed and power advantage that Garcia has is going to come into play.
Oh, okay. All right. Canelo versus Triple G.
Canelo, again, the younger, fresher fighter, has the mental advantage that he did beat him already before. So he has that on his resume. That's a mental advantage. And also, Triple G looked real slow in his last fight against Rayo Murata. So
yeah, he's looking a little more, I'd say, fatter now.
Nah, to me, he's always had that like awkward build. I wouldn't say his body looks different. It's just more so he just looked very slow. And and Canelo is super duper fast. As far as hand speed, I think Canelo wins by knockout, to be honest with you.
Which round?
I'll say late, somewhere 9, 10, 11.
Speaking of Canelo versus Bivol. Do you think Bivol really won that, or no?
Yeah, Bivol clearly won that fight. Clearly won that. He outboxed him. I thought he clearly won the fight. All three judges had it 7-5 for Bivol. Even that, I felt was too close. That fight was like a 10-2, 9-3 kind of fight.
Honestly, when the rematch happens, do you think Canelo will win?
I mean, let's see how Canelo looks against Triple G. Let's see how Bivol looks against Zuldo Ramirez, which the WBA just mandated. Let's see how that looks before we go on to making predictions about fights that can happen so much in the future.
Which thoughts on Zorro versus Bivol?
Bivol smokes him, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think that's a competitive fight.
I've got Zorro. I'm going with Zorro, but okay.
You're going to look back in this video and go, damn, man, Broadway was right, man. I should have listened to Broadway. Leave the predictions to the professionals.
All right. What's your thoughts on Gary Antoine Russell? All the Russell brothers.
There's too many to just give you all, but Gary Antoine Russell, I do think he's a talented fighter, but I think he gets hit a lot. I think he needs to clean up his defense a little bit more. Those 140 is a really, really, really deep division.
Yeah, especially with Josh Taylor there.
From Josh Taylor to Subriel Matias to Elvis Rodriguez, Alberto Buello, Arnold Barboza, and Jose Ramirez and Jose Zepeda. There's a lot of killers at 140, and he tends to take punches every now and then, more so than I do think it's necessary. As far as Antonio Russell, I'm not too high on him either, to be honest with you. I don't think. By the way, I'm not down on those guys. I'm just not as high on them as how I was with Gary Russell Jr., the 126-pounder. Yeah. Back when I was in college, I remember watching him, and I'm thinking this guy was one of the most talented fighters coming up at that time. But he was very inactive. He had a lot of injuries where he would pull out of fights, and his last fight, fought with an injury and lost. But I still think he's a talented fighter, and I still think he beats a lot of these featherweights.
Okay, so I have a question. What is your favorite lightweight right now?
My favorite lightweight is probably Michelle Rivera. I'm the voice of Dominican boxing, bro. That's the only answer I could have gave you.
All right, well, prediction. Haney versus Tank, if it happens.
As of right now, I would favor probably Haney, just because he's the boxer. He has a very sharp jab. He's taller than Tank, and he has the mental advantage that he got the better of him when they sparred.
Now, what about Rolly versus Frank Martin? Earl Spence Jr. wants that to happen. What's on that?
You know, it's funny. I actually didn't get to see Frank Martin's last fight this past Saturday. I had a lot of things to do, but from what I've seen before, I don't know. I don't really like Rolly's style. So, but again, I haven't seen enough of Frank Martin to give you a prediction. So that one, I'll just you know, I can't answer that one. I don't feel knowledgeable enough on both fighters.
Okay. What about Haney versus Kambosos? The second fight. What's your prediction?
I mean, did you see the first fight?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, like I don't see what Kambosos could do different. I really don't.
I mean, Haney has a sharp jab. Kambosos has a tight, sluggerish style.
Nah, my man. Ain't nothing changing. Ain't nothing changing.
All right. Now, prediction. What if... Okay, no, thoughts. Mike Tyson versus Floyd Patterson.
Oh, Mike Tyson kills Floyd Patterson.
What?
That's like in one round.
Oh, no.
He does him in one round. Floyd Patterson?
He's the original. He's the original peekaboo.
No, listen. Floyd Patterson at one point was the youngest heavyweight champion of all time. And the guy who broke the record was Mike Tyson. By the way, they both from my hometown of Brooklyn, New York. I just had to point that out. Yo, Sonny Liston destroyed Floyd Patterson. And I listen, Mike Tyson would have destroyed it. Like, that's not even a fight that the sanctioning, it should be sanctioned how much of a mismatch. Floyd Patterson wasn't an all-time great. He was a good fighter during his time in a weak era, but he wasn't an all-time great. And I'm from Brooklyn. I should be biased. I'm just being honest. Mike Tyson would have killed that guy.
I will disagree on you.
No. Don't disagree with me on that one. Please don't. Disagree on me with anything, but not that.
All right. What about Chavez versus Duran?
Ooh,
that would have been like the fight of all fights.
That's a war. That's a war. In particular with Durant, I mean with Chavez, his first fight at lightweight from moving up from 130 was against Edwin Rosario, one of the hardest punches, and he walked through those punches and knocked him out. But I would have to favor Durant. Durant has a win over Sugar Ray Leonard. It's hard to top that, you know, which I just recently scored on my podcast. The official scorecard, so go check that out.
All right. Okay, who will win? Sugar Ray Robinson or Sugar Ray Leonard?
I mean, there's different eras.
True, definitely, but
I have a hard time picking against Sugar Ray Leonard. And Sugar Ray I actually was wearing a Sugar Ray Robinson tank top earlier today.
No way.
Yeah, and this is not to take anything away from Sugar Ray Robinson, but Sugar Ray Leonard was just one of those fighters, man, that like he was very clutch, very. He was just. I think he was faster. I think Robinson may have hit harder, but you know, power isn't everything. I don't know. That's a tough one, but I tend to favor Leonard. But I've seen more of Leonard, so maybe I'm biased that way.
All right, prediction: Charlo versus Timzoo.
Charlo smokes Timzoo. That's an easy fight.
It may be true.
No, not maybe. Trust me, I know.
I agree with that. All right, well, Fundora
what?
Sebastian Fundora versus Charlo. I mean,
it's a good fight. It's a good fight. I would favor Charlo because of his boxing movement, and I feel like Fundora tends to sometimes give up his height. And seeing how sharp Charlo was in his last fight and all the work he did with Joel Guzman, who's also Dominican. Shout out to my Dominican brother, Joel Guzman. He's been training with him and looking real sharp, and he gave a lot of credit for working on certain defensive moves. So I would favor Charlo.
Okay, what about Tyson Fury? Do you think he'll ever come out of retirement again?
Yeah. He's not retiring. I don't believe that for 1 second.
Okay. Now, I gotta ask you, what got you into YouTube and all of this? What got you into podcasting?
Well, that's a loaded question. I actually was a boxing YouTuber like 12 years ago, and stopped doing it just because I didn't know how to edit, and I was intimidated because other people's quality of videos was way better than mine, and I got intimidated and I stopped. Then I came back to doing YouTube. I was interviewing people in the street, asking random questions, not about boxing. Then I got tired of that. Then I was like, you know what? Let me go back to what I originally started my YouTube page about. And now I'm the voice of Dominican boxing, and I'm creating content now for my people.
All right. Quick little thing. Why does the Cubs? Why'd they get rid of Rizzo and send him to your Yankees? Huh? Why that?
Listen, man. I don't know. The Cubs, they don't want to spend money, man. They ain't want to spend money, and the Yankees, they were willing. And I'm very, very happy with Anthony Rizzo and what he's doing at first base and also at the plate.
Okay. How'd you come up with the name Broadway?
So originally, remember I was telling you that I was interviewing people in the street? So I was interviewing people in New York. There's a street called Broadway. So I went to Harlem. I started on 155th Street in Broadway. And I worked my way down. I was going to work my way down all through the island of Manhattan, which I ended up not doing because, I told you, I fell out of love with it. I wasn't having as much fun.
Yes.
So once I got down to 135th Street, I stopped. But yeah, that's how I got it. I was like, I'm going to interview people on Broadway. I'm going to just give myself the name, Broadway Joel.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
No, thank you. And you keep up the hard work. Listen to your father and stay in school, all right?
Definitely.
All right, my brother.
Now, everyone, remember to like and subscribe. Catch you later.
And also subscribe.
Subscribe also to my channel, Broadway Joel. Follow me on Twitter @_Broadway Joel and on Instagram @Broadway Joel. Until next time, guys. Peace.
Catch you later.